Good evening. We want to call to order our study session of Monday, April 22nd, 2019. We have all of council present, and just an overall preview of what we're going to be doing tonight is we have some recognitions out in front, some proclamations, and then two scheduled appearances, and then we will have a consent agenda. So why don't we get started with our recognitions. City Manager and Councilmember Orlando, please join me up front.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. So I would ask Stephen Erno, our Acting Community Services Director, to come forward and make the first presentation on service recognitions.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. So it's my pleasure to recognize Ariane Francis, if we can have her come up to the front. So Ariane has had 15 years of service with the city of Chandler. She began her career in Chandler in 2003 as a recreation leader 2 at a junior high satellite site coordinating after-school recreation programs. In 2007, she became a Recreation Coordinator 1 at the Snedeker Recreation Center, where she oversaw classes, rentals, and annual events. 5 years later, she was promoted to her current role of Recreation Coordinator 2, taking over the operations of the Environmental Education Center located at Veterans Oasis Park. Under Ariane's steady hand, the Environmental Education Center has flourished and become a favorite spot for birdwatchers, school groups, gardeners, and all those curious about the natural world. Throughout her tenure with the city, Ariane has become known for her hard work and dedication and for her willingness to volunteer for new projects. Thank you for all you do, Ariane. We appreciate it.
This time I would ask John Knutson, Public Works and Utilities Director, to come forward and make his presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight I'd like to ask Ramon Granillo to come forward to accept his 20-year service recognition. In December 1998, Ramon Granillo joined the city as a Water Treatment Operator 1. He currently is a Water Treatment Plant Operator 2 at the Pecos Surface Water Treatment Plant, where he monitors and controls not only the water plant, but the entire city's water system. Ramon's work ethic is outstanding. While he monitors the plant systems with an eagle eye, he also makes sure that the control room is always in order. Ramon can zero in on the cause of a problem and always comes up with a workable solution. He sets priorities and adjusts them as needed when unexpected situations arise. He always makes himself available to assist with any project and works hard to see it through to completion. Ramon has a great sense of humor and promotes a team environment amongst all the staff. The staff truly appreciate his help during stressful times. Today, Ramon continues to be the same hard worker he was in 1998. He's a team player, has excellent work ethic, and is appreciated by all in the department. Thank you, Ramon, for 20 years of service, and we expect 20 more.
Mayor, it looks like our retirement recognition was unable to attend tonight, so that is it for the first two items there.
All right, so we have some proclamations. So our first proclamation is going to be Arbor Day. And if I could have Ariane Francis and Sandy Munoz Weingartner from Community Services Department to come on up. Wow, double duty. We would have been impressed. Whereas the main objective of the City of Chandler is to enhance the quality of life for the entire community by providing effective governance and efficient delivery of public services. And whereas the city recognizes the many benefits that trees provide to the lives of people within the community, including cleaner air, shade, lower energy cost, and aesthetic beauty. And whereas Chandler is designated as Tree City USA, which presents the image of our city as a desirable place to live or conduct business with residents who care about their environment. And whereas in conjunction with that designation, the City of Chandler desires to commemorate and celebrate Arbor Day. And whereas the state of Arizona recognizes the last Friday of April as the official Arbor Day of Arizona and has designated it as such in order for members of the community to have a greater understanding of the importance of trees and their impact on our health and well-being. Whereas Arbor Day is an important opportunity to inspire people to plant, nurture, and celebrate trees. Now I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of Chandler, do hereby proclaim Friday, April 26th as Arbor Day in Chandler and encourage everyone to actively and appropriate participate in observation of the occasion. Plant a tree. Andy, would you like to make some comments or?
Well, we just had our Earth Day event at the Environmental Education Center, but we always welcome people who are interested in nature and especially trees. And we've got lots to look at out there, lots of native trees, and we encourage you to come out and visit with us. Thank you.
Our next proclamation is fair housing. And if we can have our community development and housing staff come on up. A proclamation, April 2019, marks the 51st anniversary of the signing of Fair Housing Act. And whereas shelter is a basic human need, and when shelter is denied, the quality of human life is greatly diminished. And whereas people must not be denied equal access to and enjoyment of housing because of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or familial status. And whereas the City of Chandler recognizes and values the efforts of those who seek to reduce barriers to full and fair housing opportunity. And whereas April is designated nationally as Fair Housing Month, now I, therefore, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of Chandler, do hereby proclaim the month of April as Fair Housing Month in the City of Chandler and encourage all citizens to work for fair housing opportunities in our own community. And who's going to be speaking?
So thank you, Mayor and City Council, for supporting fair housing and fair housing activities in Chandler, and to the city staff who you see before you, and also many others in the Neighborhood Resources Department who work on a daily basis to make sure that all Chandler residents have fair and equal opportunity for housing, whether it's rental or home ownership. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Good to see you all. And we have one final proclamation. May 12th through 18th, 2019 as National Police Week, and May 15th, 2019 as Peace Officers Memorial Day. We'd like to call up Chief Duggan, and we have a proclamation as well. I'm glad I brought my glasses. So many proclamations. Whereas the Congress and President of the United States have designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which May 15th falls as National Police Week, and whereas the members of the Chandler Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the residents of Chandler in pursuit of its mission to provide a safe community where people can live, work, and thrive, and whereas it is important that all residents know and understand the duties, responsibilities, hazards, and sacrifices of their police department, and that the members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence and disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression. And whereas the men and women of the Chandler Police Department unceasingly provide a vital public service to the community and are deserving of being honored as heroes. Now, therefore, I, Kevin Hartke, Mayor of the City of Chandler, Arizona, do hereby proclaim May 12th through 18th as National Police Week and May 15th, 2019 as Police Officers Memorial Day. We call upon all residents of Chandler and of all patriotic, civic, and educational organizations to observe National Police Week with appropriate ceremonies and observances in which all of our people may join in commemorating law enforcement officers, past and present. I further call upon residents of Chandler to observe Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who by their courageous deeds have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our community. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the men and women of the Chandler Police Department, I'd like to thank you and all the members of council, and of course our community for incredible support, and invite you to attend our police memorial service on Monday, May 6th at 8:30 in the morning at our Memorial Plaza, which is right outside our main station, where we will honor and remember the members of the Chandler Police Department, those officers who have lost their lives serving and protecting our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. And we have two scheduled public appearances. I'd like to first invite Sean Scott, who desires to speak to us about speed bumps and speed limit signs on Meadow Drive. Sean, please state your name and address.
My name is Sean Scott. I live at 724 North Meadows Drive in Chandler, 85224.
And you have 3 minutes.
Yes, and thank you very much for allowing me to appear today. My street is one of the only surrounding streets without speed bumps or speed limit signs. So it's kind of a straight shot between Ivanhoe and Galveston, and so people take it as a shortcut and a freeway. So I have lived there for almost 2 years, and I didn't realize until I started down this path just how many children there are in our neighborhood who are not allowed to play in the front yard. I have to take my daughter a block away to a church parking lot for her to ride her bike. She can't safely do chalk in the driveway. Kid stuff. She needs to be able to be a child. Wave your hand. Yeah, there she is. And that's all I'm asking, basically. So all of the surrounding streets have speed limit signs and speed bumps. and it's not safe for our children on meadows. So my question is, and I purchased one of those cheap little plastic slow children at play signs, and I put it on the sidewalk. Someone ran it over and broke it in half. So they obviously have zero respect for speed limits or speeding down the street. And I certainly am not a police officer, but the Chandler Police Department did lay a line for a couple of weeks to gauge. So I'm guessing that they got enough data from that line that they laid. But my question is, are the children on the surrounding streets more important than the children on meadows? And if our children are our future, shouldn't we keep them safe?
Right. Staff, I know that, I believe that we've reached out, but what is the process for of speed bumps in our community? Would someone like to address that? Yeah. City Manager. Thank you, City Manager.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you
All right.
very much for your time. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Ms.
it.
Scott.
I respect
Mayor?
you all.
Mayor, quick question,
Uh,
staff. The other speed bumps, can you give us a historical perspective when you get a chance of why they were put in and
I
for
think
some
she's
reason?
going to address that.
Oh, I'm
That's why
sorry,
called
I
her up.
apologize.
So,
Mayor and Council, first to the question of the process, it's a policy that was adopted by Council in 1998 and then amended in 1999. It was adopted via resolution. The primary thing that we get asked for is speed humps. So the process for that is a resident requests it. We'll do a study to see what the speed and the volume are on that given street. Then, depending on the speed and volume, if the speed is 32 miles an hour or greater on a 24-mile-an-hour street, it would be eligible for city funding or partial city funding. If the volumes are between 450 and 900 vehicles a day, it would be 50% city funded, 50% resident funded. If it's over 900 vehicles a day, it would be fully city funded. If it's less than that 450, it would need to be fully resident funded. So that's the current process that's in place today. And I apologize, Councilmember Orlando, could you repeat your question?
Yeah, no problem. My question was, this is the first time I've heard that there's speed bumps in the area. It's been a while since I've been in the area. So what prompted those speed bumps to be put in, and why did we forget this area? Or was there enough money, or was there just enough focus on it, or what?
Councilmember Orlando, Mayor and Council. It depends on the request. As the request comes in, it's usually for one street at a time, or sometimes they come in as groups, but generally it's for one street at a time. So when they came in for Ivanhoe or some of these other streets, it was probably just for that street, and it probably over the years got developed that way. I know in the past they have requested on Meadows Drive to have speed humps. It's just not something that was pursued. It was at that time resident funded. It did not meet volume or speed qualifications to be city funded, and it was not pursued at that time. That was back in 2003. The last study was done on this segment of roadway.
So 2003?
Mm-hmm.
So was there another study done since then?
Yes.
That's what you're doing now?
Yes, Ms. Scott turned in a traffic calming request form. We just did that. The tube that she mentioned that was laid across the road, we did collect speed and volume data. We're looking at that now.
You are looking at that now?
Yes.
So you haven't made a judgment yet, is what you're saying?
No, we do not have the results of that complete yet.
When do you think you'll be able to get back with Ms. Scott?
I would think within the week we should be able to have that data or that information gathered.
Perfect. And real quick, last question here. What does it cost for a speed bump?
Speed bump, usually if it's just like a one or, in this location, we'd probably do 2 speed humps. It's roughly $3,000 per speed hump. So at this location, it would be roughly $6,000.
It would be a couple of them. Got it.
Yeah, to do at least 2 based on the length of the street that we're talking about in this particular situation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So you'll get back with Ms. Scott with the results and then help determine whether the city is able to partially fund, or if she would then otherwise seek the support of neighbors to put one in, correct?
Correct. Yep. We would let her know where she falls on that, and the council approved criteria and where they fall based on the data that we collected recently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms.
Just
Scott?
for the record, in 1990, my next door neighbor's niece was hit by a speeding vehicle, and it took 5 surgeries for her to keep her leg. So this has been ongoing for a very long time.
Thank you, Ms. Scott.
You bet. Thank you.
Mayor? Councilmember Stewart?
City Manager, is there a way we can short-term increase some police presence to deter speeding on that street? Or is that a request we can make of the police department?
Yes, certainly. I'll ask them to increase the presence over there and see what we're getting.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, Mayor, as a follow-up, once we have the decision made, we'll also put that out for all of you, so you'll have that information as well.
All right, thank you, City Manager. Thank you, Ms. Scott. Our second public appearance is Anthony Desrusso. I'm sorry for butchering your last name, sir, and it's concerns at Apache Park. I think I've just called you Tony.
That'll work for me.
You could give
Thank
your
you all
name and
very much
address
letting me
for the
do it.
record, please.
Last year I spoke in front of you guys about the conditions of Apache
Tony,
Park.
can you give your name and address again for
Oh, I
the?
apologize. My name is Anthony DeRusso. My address is 551 West Kent Drive, Chandler, Arizona, 85225.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Last year when I spoke about the condition of Apache Park, it was due to a lack of inspection and basically a basic neglect of the park. Last year we had approximately 8 trees that were completely dead and dead branches on approximately 25 others. I spoke to several people as far as the city council goes, members of the staff, and including the current mayor. Last year we met in the park. We asked for some time, approximately about a year. This year, it's sad to report, we have 7 more dead standing trees in the park. All of the old growth trees on the north side are standing completely dead. Some of them have been standing there so long the bark has fallen off the tree. With that, the grass is in the same condition. None of the grass has been restored in any of the bare spots, even though 6 of these trees and all of the grass is under sprinklers. So now the city has come in and blocked off the other side of the park. That should take care of the vehicle traffic that's going through the park. But the trees and the grass needs a lot of attention. And it simply looks, after a year, that nobody has basically inspected the park or even come in with any special attention since last year to fix or correct any of the problems going on in the park. So in the last 2 years, we've lost approximately 15% of the trees in the park due to basic neglect. The other problem that we have there is the homeless. Now, we don't have any regular patrols that have been going through the park recently, but 3 to 5 times a week, we have homeless people that are basically sleeping on top of the picnic tables. And they're under the main gondolas in the center of the park, and this basically takes those areas away from the people that try to use the park. The police have heightened the patrols in the park now. The problem seems to be going away, but unless we stay on top of it, this problem keeps coming back. Now, along with myself, all the neighbors on both sides of me and 4 of the neighbors across the street have all been broken into. We actually caught the people burglarizing the house across the street. They were 2 of the homeless people that were in the park, but they were let go because the people that were restoring the house didn't want to press charges. So we need some help in the park as far as policing. The police chief went over his idea, what he's going to do, and it looks like it's going to work. But we need somebody to pay special attention to the park, especially the grass and the trees. The grass is roughly 50% weeds at this point. There's probably 20 other trees that have dead branches on them and are starting to die. So the park needs some special attention. And that's about all I have for you guys.
All right, thank you, Anthony. City manager, is there someone who can, I think we've met with Anthony, but is there anything to be said with us other than to look at the concerns?
Yeah, we can look at those again. I know that our acting community services director did speak to Mr. DeRusso last week, and he also had walked the park. I think he may have found something a little bit different, but we can certainly get back out there and take a look at the park.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Mayor?
you.
Mayor, follow up.
Councilmember Orlando.
So is this a irrigation park or are there sprinkler systems there?
Through the mayor, Councilmember Orlando, I believe it is both. Part of it is flood irrigated and part of it is sprinklered.
Okay, thank you. So it's not for lack of water, I'm assuming.
That would be correct.
Okay, thank you.
In my opinion, it is from a complete lack of water. There were only 2 waterings last year as far as. There hasn't been one this year until last week, and the sprinklers were turned on for the first time last week.
Yeah. Anthony, thank you. So, all right. If we could have staff just make sure that the park is being adequately watered too.
We will do that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, council, that is all for special appearances. Or our next item is our consent agenda. No items were called in that I'm aware of. Is there anything that council that are on your concern? All right. Seeing none. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I just had a question about item number 30, the final plat for Pine Lake condominiums. I just wanted to see how that is in relation to the airport overlay and how that development would be how it would fit nicely with the airport overlay. Can we see that?
Mayor, council member, vice mayor, sorry. Your question is simply, how does the Pine Lake condos fit in with the larger context of the air park area? Is that what I understand your question correctly?
Well, there's little question that housing has kind of worked its way right up to the edges of the airport overlay, and this looks like it's pretty close, or maybe within the overlay a little bit, but maybe not.
It's just outside of it.
You have a map that shows me that,
I don't presently. I can bring you one for Thursday.
but it's outside the overlay.
It's just on the south side of it. It was actually part of a larger area plan called the South Shore Area Plan that went south with Pine Lake Estates and everything heading south of that. So it fits right in with the context of that area plan.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
All right, council, again, if possible, if you want answers answered to your satisfaction, please call these in earlier so that we can have our staff prepared to answer questions. All right, council, that concludes our study session. We have a work session that will continue to follow in our exec room. So we'll close out our study session and meet in there in a minute or two.